having a great day. I'm Evan.sophir with William Ravis Real Estate, residential real estate agent here in beautiful South Florida. I'm joined today by a fabulous guest, Mr. Oscar Lora, who is...
Hey, Evan, how are you?
How you doing, Oscar? Thank you so much for joining me today, and hopefully we can educate everybody on the home inspection process. Oscar is the owner and operator of Ohana Inspections, which also takes place in South Florida. Oscar, tell everybody how you got into the home inspection business.
Actually, before this, I was into banking. I was a banker, and then a relative of mine suggested that I should look into it. So after some research, I decided that it was a field that I would be interested in doing. I decided to get my license, and it just expanded from there.
That's great, and that's really interesting that you said a family member, told you about home inspection business. And what is it basically for people that don't know? Obviously, I know because I work with inspectors weekly, of course, as a realtor. But for people that don't know, what really does a home inspector do? What is the importance of it? What are your daily? Give us like a rundown of your daily routine.
Of course, I tell people all the time that a home inspector is kind of like a general physician. You bring a general physician in to diagnose pretty much everything in the house. We're not a specialist in a specific area, so we're not AC contractors, we're not roofing contractors. We know a little bit about everything. So you wouldn't go to a cardiologist when you have a foot ache. You go to a general physician and you say, look, my foot hurts or my back hurts, and then they will recommend a specialist. That's kind of like what we do. We go in and we check everything from your roof down to your foundation. We look at your electrical, your plumbing, your AC, your appliances, and we would give you an idea of what's going on with the property so that the buyer can make an educated decision on the home that they're purchasing.
It really is so valuable. I don't think most people even understand the importance of wanting to get the home inspected before you actually close on it and move into the home yourself, because it's almost like, going into the house blind. You don't know what's behind the walls. You don't know what that stain in the ceiling may or may not be. You want to know how functioning the air conditioning unit is, how functioning the dishwasher is, right? And the disposal. I mean, I'm sure you've seen a lot of crazy things in South Florida with homes and, people not keeping everything up to date. But I guess let's frame it like this for all the homeowners listening. What is one of the best preventative measures to making sure that your home is overall in good condition? Is there a couple tips you can give to the homeowners to make sure everything is okay?
Yeah, what we tell people is before you get your property listed, it's not common practice, but we tell people to get a home inspection before you list it. That way you can see the condition that your property's in. I tell people all the time, they're a little bit afraid of discovering things or finding things. I said, look, the inspector that's going to come is going to find these things anyways. And it can sometimes delay the process or maybe even cancel the deal. So the best thing is to get your property inspected beforehand so you have time to fix these items. And by the time you put your property on the market, it's hopefully going to be a smooth process.
Right. Exactly. I say the same exact thing, and I tell my clients all the time too. Of course, it's totally their preference. Usually, the inspection is done once you secure a buyer and you're in the closing process. But I think it's always a good idea to know your product in and out while you're selling it, or well, actually before you even sell it. I think that's definitely great. And as an inspector, what are some of the biggest challenges, maybe, or not the biggest challenges, but the biggest obstacles that you think could delay the closing as the inspector? What is it basically that could, honestly, I mean, it sounds crazy to say, but could end up breaking deals? What are those in your opinion?
Well, we tell people that you're never going to find the perfect property. We do a lot of new construction inspections, and even in new construction, there's still issues. So the issues that we find, it's up to the client or the buyer in conjunction with their agent to decide if this is a property that's going to be worth it for them. We are just going to tell you what's wrong. You have to decide if you're willing to take on those challenges. So that's where having a great agent like yourself comes into play, because a lot of the homeowners are first-time homeowners, or they really don't know how the process works or how they can get credit for anything. So that's where we all work together as a team. I say that the biggest things are the bigger ticket items, issues with the roof, maybe some plumbing issues or some electrical, but everything is fixable in a property. You just have to know if you're willing to tackle on that challenge.
Exactly. That's everything you said. I 100% agree with. And one of the biggest things that I constantly see as a realtor representing buyers going through a transaction is that the second they get that really long, it seems like 100-page inspection report. I know you know what I'm talking about. They start to freak out. Oh my gosh, the house is ruined. There's all these different problems, and really, let's hear it from your mouth too, as the professional. But every single house, pretty much, will have something in an inspection report. There's no flawless home, and if you've ever done one, I'm sure it's one in the thousands that you've been in. Right? Am I correct?
I haven't found the house yet, and I challenge any inspector out there
Right.
to give me a perfect home inspection report where there's nothing to report.
Right.
It's just not existent.
Right.
And what I tell clients is not everything on the report that I'm giving you is urgent. We are very detailed, and we will give you things on the report that are not an urgent fix. Maybe something you want to wait till after you buy the property, maybe like a honeydew list, something for the weekend, a weekend project. We like to use our reports as something that you can use for 6 months or a year down the road and reference back and say, you know what, let me look at the inspection report I got and see a couple of things I might want to tackle this weekend that I have a weekend off. Um, Sometimes it's for the untrained eye. You don't know what you're looking for. But if on my report it says, you know what, you need to recaulk these baseboards, that's something I can do this weekend. But you're never going to find the perfect house. It's just determining if that's the house for you.
Exactly. And the inspection report can be advantageous to the buyer at times. I'm sure you've been a part of many deals like this where, you will find some things that need repair sooner than later. Not like it could be anything so terrible, but they do need repair sooner than later. And sometimes, or I should say usually, maybe about 60% of the time, you're able to almost renegotiate the sale price, whether that's through a credit at closing based off of the inspection report, or sometimes the seller then will fix whatever it is that the buyer would like fixed or repaired, and that will happen um, before the closing as well. So basically, the buyer is either usually getting a fixed repair, or sometimes they even get a credit at closing. So it's extremely advantageous for the buyer's perspective to perform the inspection always before closing on the home.
Correct. We tell people that, even investors call us. They'll call us, and people that buy properties for a living, people that are investors, they call us. We go out and we look at it with a different set of eyes. Not only are we trained to do this, but we have a set of tools that normally homeowners don't have. We invest a lot of money in the tools that we utilize just so we can inspect your property in the correct manner. So it's better to have somebody out there with the right tools. And sometimes people say, well, you know what, I'll get a roofer. That's perfectly fine if your only concern is a roof. But the roofer is a specialist in the roof. He's not a specialist in plumbing and electrical and AC. So you'd have to bring in an individual specialist for every single area just so you can get an idea of every single component. And on top of that, they have to know how every component works with each other. As a home inspector, we kind of understand, or we fully understand how every aspect of the house is intertwined and how they affect each other. And that's what the biggest advantage of having a home inspector that knows what they're talking about is because we know how the building envelope is wrapped together.
Right. Exactly. And one of the biggest things for me that's been so great meeting an inspector like yourself, or some of the other inspectors I've worked with in the past, is that they really turn into a resource for the new homeowner. If they have a question, honestly, even throughout their ownership, or while we're debating if we want to go through the deal or not, they can then call said inspector, and the inspector can give them some advice. Or a lot of times, I'm sure you do this as well, you can help them refer a vendor to them for the item that they need repaired. um, I'm sure you're probably partnered with or know so many vendors, whether it's roofers, right, electricians, plumbers. So would you be able to help a new home buyer with those type of recommendations?
Of course, that's one of the main things that we get called for after the inspection is, can you recommend somebody to make the repairs that you recommended?
Right.
And over time, we partner up with a lot of different companies. We realize who are the good ones and who are the ones that are going to respond with a great price and great service. And we love it when clients use us as a resource for the future because we know who can do a good job.
Right. Absolutely. And I want to ask you another sort of general question that I've gotten in the past, and you could speak to this. I know every inspection company is a little bit different, but does your general inspection at Ohana Inspections, does that include checking the mold in the home or doing a mold test?
Not every home inspector is a licensed mold assessor, and that doesn't mean that they don't know what they're looking for. It's just they haven't taken the course. I think pretty much every home inspector with the proper training can help identify the aspects of mold or the presence of mold. Now, it can't be confirmed unless you actually take samples and send them to the lab. But we at Ohana Inspections, we are licensed mold assessors, so we can check for mold, we can test for mold, and we can report on it and explain you the process of mold, or why it's growing or how it's growing and how to treat it.
Great. I know that's definitely good to know, because I know, like you said, all inspection companies don't, have that resource, or they need to outsource it in some way. So that's good that you can help with that if necessary.
Of course.
Good, good. And listen, I'm also hoping that you join our BNI group. And to anyone out there who's watching, our BNI group is still in need of a few selective categories to fill out. It's a really fantastic networking group. Oscar is thinking about it. I know he's debating whether to join. We definitely would love him. And obviously, if anyone watching has any questions about joining the networking group, it's great for referrals, and it's great to build a sales team. You can reach out to me directly. All my contact information will be here on the screen. And Oscar, is there any other information you would like to tell anyone looking for a home, or considering getting an inspection, or maybe thinking their house may have some issues or some things needed repaired and would like to call you about that?
I think the main thing is make sure that you do your research. Do your research on all aspects. Referrals from trusted professionals like your realtor or your inspector is a great way to go about it, but always do your own research to make sure that you're comfortable with the people that you're using. Using a great realtor like you, Evan, is a great advantage to a client, because you can tell them, for example, how the market's doing or what's a good area for them to buy based on their needs or what they're looking for. So it's always great to utilize a trusted professional. Do your research, read reviews, ask for past results. Us as inspectors, we're happy to send you copies of past inspection reports. You can check us out online. We have over 170 reviews. We're in a 5-star category, so we're happy to say that. And I just say do your research, and make sure that you're using people that know what they're doing.
Yeah, no, that absolutely is also very true. I try to think of myself mostly as a guide to people. It really is my job to walk them through the home buying process as much as possible, and to guide them in the right direction for whatever fits their family's needs specifically. The inspector is part of that process. The mortgage company can be part of that process, the title company, everything from beginning to end. So I really try to affiliate myself with professionals that'll guide in the same way that I am as the realtor. So I know you are that kind of professional as well, and I appreciate you joining the video today.
Happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. And again, if you have any questions about real estate, you can call myself. I'm a realtor, of course, and you can call Oscar with any questions about home, appliances, anything in South Florida. And Oscar, I know you said you do commercial as well, right? Not just residential?
Correct. We do residential, commercial, environmental, and we also do insurance inspections as well.
Perfect. All right. Well, you heard it here. Reach out to Oscar and myself anytime, and we wish you guys a great day. Thank you, and stay safe.
Thank you.